Glee. I wasn't exactly planning to watch the show. It doesn't really seem like something I'd be interested in, but my sister insisted, so I gave it a shot. And I gotta say, I enjoyed season one. There's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of good moments, a lot of good music, but there's also a lot of stupid stuff and stupid moments, and some of the music maybe isn't that good. But overall, I enjoyed season one, so I'm going to give it a B minus. So for this review, I am going to just dive in and give my thoughts on each character and their arc, similar to what I do in my Dexter videos. Okay, so since there's a dozen main characters, I'm just going to get started. Let's start off with Quinn, who I think is probably the most interesting character on the show because he makes bad choices, but also she feels like a lot of remorse whenever she does. So you're able to sympathize with her. She's like the bitchy cheerleader at the start, but she's quickly grows to be a lot more likable and friendly to the people in the Glee Club. So I like her growth a lot through the season. I think she's a good singer. I think Diana Agron's a great actress as well. Like so, a lot of little moments, all just really well acted. The baby storyline, I feel like went on a little too long. Like she's pretending like Finn's the father, but it's actually Puck. It just kind of like okay, get on with it. Um, but I don't know. I think she has good chemistry with a lot of the other characters in the show, and she can be very sweet at times. Like I like her friendship with Mercedes and how her and Rachel start becoming friends towards the middle of the season. Moving on to Kurt, who I have mixed feelings on. I like his dedication to being himself and expressing himself. I think that's really important. And I really like his relationship with his dad. They have such a good dynamic there, nice, wholesome father son moments throughout. I don't like his obsession with Finn. That's like really creepy and stalkerish. And it's just kind of pathetic because it's very clear Finn's not into him. And it just like I get like secondhand embarrassment watching those scenes. So I didn't like that, but I like some of the other cool stuff. Yeah, let's move on to Terry Schuster, who is probably the most insufferable character on this show. I think the actress does a great job, though. She like tries to make her empathetic, but there's really not much to work with here. She pretends to be pregnant because she's afraid her husband Will is gonna leave her, and it goes on for like 12 episodes, and it gets a little ridiculous. And then he finally leaves her, um, based on this insane hunch that she's pretending to be pregnant because he found the fake belly thing, which I think her lie was pretty believable. But anyway, she kind of just gets written out halfway through the season and slows up a few more times. But I don't know. I hope she's happy and I hope she grows as a person. I think she's in the stages of growing as a person, which is nice. But whenever she's on screen, I'm just kind of waiting for the other subplots to resume because I don't really like that subplot. Moving on to Jane Lynch as Sue Sylvester, who is a very great character on the show. She's mean, toxic, vindictive, very petty, a lot of times for no reason. Um, but we find out there was a softer side to her. She gets along with Becky because her sister also has Down syndrome. So we see like a soft side of her. It doesn't make her a complete. She's not a complete monster by any means. She even voted for the Glee Club at the regionals. So like, she's a bitch, and she's like not the best person, but she has some sweet moments too. I think her rivalry with Will is one of the best parts of the show. Moving on to Emma Pillsbury, who is probably my favorite character along with Quinn. I like seeing somebody who has obsessive compulsive disorder on TV, and it's not like made into a joke all the time. Like it's not just a quirk. Like it actually deeply affects her life, and I like when it's written like that instead of just this is so funny. It's just a joke. And I have slightly different obsessive compulsive disorder. It's not necessarily about germs. It's more so about other things, but I'm not gonna get into that here. I like how even despite her having these issues, she's still like a very sweet guidance counselor. And I like her relationship with Will, though I feel like when they kissed at the end of Sectionals, they should have just stayed together instead of him like continuing the will they won't they, and he sort of cheats on her, sort of doesn't cheat on her because they were on a break. I don't know. That sort of storylines never really work for me. I feel like once characters get together, they should stay together. But whatever, they gotta drag this thing out for a couple more seasons at least. Moving on to Audie. He's cool, I guess. I think he's a great singer. He's honestly a better singer than Finn, even though Finn's the lead. Um, he kind of has this like I don't really like his relationship with Tina that much. Sometimes they're cute, but sometimes he comes off as a dick for no reason. But then again, he is a high schooler, so that makes sense. Sometimes I forget that these people are in high school because none of them actually look like they're 15 or 16 like they're supposed to be. They're like full grown adults. Most of them are older than I am, and I'm 22. But, you can't really hate him because he is a teenager. So I just hope he evolves and grows as a person as the seasons go on. Moving on to Rachel, who is a very annoying character, but also very sweet. Like, she's a good person even though she annoys you sometimes. And honestly, I'd like her to have my back. She's somebody who would kind of piss me off sometimes because of how self-centered she is. But I feel like when push comes to shove, she's actually cares deeply about her friends, and honestly, that's all that matters, right? And her singles, Lay Michelle, probably the best singer on the show. Moving on to Finn, who is another good character. He starts off as a football player, but then joins the Glee club along with like half the football team, which is kind of strange because like how are they able to balance? How's Finn able to balance having a part-time job, going to the Glee club, and being on the football team at the same time, and going to school, and having a social life? It doesn't really. We're just supposed to brush past that. I like how deeply he cares for his friends and people, and he's kind of like your stereotypical lead character. Not the most interesting, but I still like him. And I feel like he's a huge part of why the show works. The whole Finn, Corinne, Rachel, Jesse love squirrel kind of got old after a while, but because it's just very clear that him and Rachel are eventually going to get together, which I think they do in the finale. By the way, isn't it ridiculous how Jesse pretended to quit his school and then go to another school in the middle of the semester just to sabotage the Glee Club? That's insane to me. Like, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. But I feel really bad for Finn because he spends the first half of the season, you know, dealing psychologically about him being a parent, being a new father, only to find out that that's just a huge lie. And I would have liked them to explore that more, but him and Quinn just kind of stopped talking to each other after that, and I feel like it never gets properly resolved. So I would never talk to these people again if that happened to me, like the ultimate betrayal, but he's still on the Glee Club with them. I mean, I guess if he quits, then he wouldn't be on a show anymore, and I don't know. I guess he had to stay on. Moving on to Will, who I think is overhated by people. I think he's a really good teacher, and I love how he's always there for his students, especially Finn. They have a lot of good moments together. He has some good moments with Quinn as well. Sometimes he gets a little too involved in his student's life, which kind of comes off as creepy. But us knowing Will, like, we know that he's not a creep, so it's fine. But if we were viewing this from an outside perspective, I feel like it would be a lot more creepier. Like I said earlier, I don't like him and Emma going on a break, and then he immediately hooks up with Glinda and Alphaba, which is kind of strange. But he gets a lot of good songs in this. I don't like his rapping, but I like when he's actually singing. And I think the actor does a great job being like the centerpiece of the cast. Moving on to Mercedes, who she's okay. I feel like she doesn't get much to do this season. She, but when she is on the screen, I like her. I like how confident she is. She also comes off as like a really sweet friend, especially to Quinn and Bolt and stuff. But she doesn't really do that much. So I like her. I hope she gets more development in the next season. Moving on to Puck, he's a character I don't really like that much. Besides the multiple crimes his actor did in real life, he's just not the most likable character. He's kind of a slut, and I feel like he never feels remorse for the things he does, because he hurts a lot of people in this. He hurts Quinn, he hurts Finn, a little bit with Rachel, but I feel like Rachel didn't really care about him that much anyway. I don't know, I just feel like he should have shown more remorse about the things he did. That makes him extremely unlikable. Like, I know Quinn cheated on Finn, but at least he felt bad about it. He just doesn't even feel bad about it. Moving on to Tina, who is a very likable character, though doesn't get that much screen time. But whenever she does, I like her. I think it's kind of funny how she faked the stutter for like 3 years at this point just to get out of a speech she had to do in middle school, and she just kept rolling with it. But that slowly disappears throughout the season. She comes off as very shy, and I think Will Schuster helps her get out of that by saying like, you're a great singer. You just gotta sing more and you'll be more confident. I like the line where he says, "The more confident you are, the less you stutter." I think that's a really good line, even though she was faking the stutter, but it shows how intuitive Will is. Like I said earlier, I like Tina's relationship with Audie. I feel like she could do better than him, but she's still really sweet. I think she has a good voice, even though she doesn't really sing that much, at least as a lead. Okay, now I'm going to talk about my top 5 episodes in season 1. Number 5, we have Wheels, which is episode 9 of the series. I think this is a great episode because it shows how Audie sees things. It shows how difficult it is to be a guy in a wheelchair and be very limited in where you could go and how people view you. I like this cover of Dancing with Myself. That was really good. I also like the huge rolling on a river scene at the end with the roll on the wheelchairs. I thought that was pretty cool too. I like the subplot where Kurt is denied the chance to sing Defying Gravity and his dad gets involved. It shows how much his dad cares about him. And I also like the subplot where Sue lets Becky on the team, this young girl with Down syndrome, and Will thinks it's like this plan to be mean or something, but it shows that Sue does have a heart, and she's not as evil as she comes off sometimes, well, most of the time. Number 4 pick is episode 19, Dream On. This features Neil Patrick Harris, who's probably one of my favorite celebrities. He comes in as this angry, former Glee Club student who didn't make it on Broadway, despite being played by Neil Patrick Harris, and wants to shut the Glee Club down out of spite. How one board member has the power to do this is beyond me and very confusing, but this show's kind of dumb anyway, so you just have to roll with stuff like this. What makes this episode very memorable is, of course, Neil Patrick Harris' performances. His duets with Will are always fun. Dream On performance, The Piano Man. The episode also furthers the plot between Idina Menzel, I forgot her name, and Rachel, which I like their chemistry together, the whole mother-daughter relationship. I like how Neil Patrick Harris' character being a failure kind of puts a lot of fear into the other students, like, oh god, if he failed, any of us could fail at our dreams. But it ends on a semi-positive note with Neil Patrick Harris no longer being evil because he joins this play. Number 3 pick for the season is episode 15, which is The Power of Madonna. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm not a big Madonna fan. I think she is very odd and hasn't really made a good song since the 90s. But I enjoyed this episode. I like Sue being able to cut loose and sing her own solo despite hating the Glee Club. Her she just sings anyway. Her love of Madonna overtakes her hatred of the Glee Club. This is a very funny episode as well. Like there's a lot of funny gags in it, like the whole like a Virgin song with all of them singing at the same time. I like how the boys are like, I don't want to sing Madonna songs, that's gay. And it's like, did you not remember all the other gay ass songs you sang this season? Like, calm down. Number 2 would be the season finale, Journey to Regionals. This is a great way to end season 1, and I love the music. The whole act where they're singing is amazing, and so is Jonathan Groff singing the Bohemian Rhapsody is great. I love the way all the different subplots come together at the end. Where Corinne, of course, just happens to go into labor right after they finish performing. And Idina Menzel just happens to want to be a mother and takes the baby. Everything just kind of fits in perfectly. I think the cast does a great job. Lea Michele does a great performance as Rachel, both singing and acting. I like Sue's heel face turn, where the whole time she's been wanting to shut down the Glee Club, but at the last minute, after being insulted by Josh Groban, and Olivia Newton-John, she was like, you know what, fuck you guys, don't insult my town. She decides to vote for them anyway, even though she hates them. I think that's kind of funny. So yeah, the finale was definitely the second best episode. The best episode, though, was season 1, episode 13, which is Sectionals. So this is the first episode. I was like, wow, this is a great episode. We have a lot of things come together, like the fight between Finn and Quinn and Puck after he finds out that that he's not the father. We have the Will and Emma finally admitting no feelings to each other and kissing. With the whole performance at Sectionals was great, especially the don't rain on my parade performance is my favorite song of the season because I think Lea Michelle just belts it out, as well as My Life Will Suck Without You. That's a great song too. I really like the performance of that. Felt a lot very raw. So yeah, great episode, great mid-season finale, and then a couple cliffhangers, and they actually succeed for once, which is great because most of the time they fail at stuff. So overall, season 1, not the best show I've ever seen, but honestly, it's a lot better than The Last of Us season 2, so I'll give it that. Let me know down in the comments below what you think, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.